If you're new to my YouTube channel, please click that subscribe button and remember to click the bell icon to get notifications of all my uploads throughout the week. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So it's the beginning of March. It's the first Saturday of the month, which means there's a brand new mission over on our Facebook group, and the URL, the address for the Facebook group is there on the screen right now. So why not pop across and join us and join in the fun. There's now a community of over 3,000 people on the Mission Inspiration Facebook group. It's a great, safe, supportive and creative community where you can share your creations based on the Mission Inspiration prompts for the month. Having said that, I will show you now the prompts for March, and then I'll show you what I've done. And I'll join with you again right back at the end. So once again, I will be working in my Mission Inspiration journal, and this is a loose leaf journal which is only held together with some book rings, 8 inches by 8 inches, and I've already taken one of the sheets out. So this will be the sheet that I'm working on today. So the prompts for the month are here, and you can find these on my blog, also on the Facebook group, so you can download these and use them in your own projects or in your own videos or blog posts or whatever, with no restrictions. So you can just download it and use it as you wish. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to get started with step number 1. So step number 1 is to cover your page with tissue or napkins. Okay, so after rooting through my tissue and napkin collection, I came across a piece of this, which I've already cut down to round about the right size, which I think is absolutely perfect. Now, looking at the colour scheme, terracotta. Almost. So I've got some Galleria Winsor & Newton acrylic matte medium. I'm a little out of breath running up the stairs. Ooh, right. So I'm going to just dob some of that down, and I'm not bothered about getting wrinkles. So let's just throw that out there right from the word go, because it's tissue paper, you're going to get wrinkles, it's inevitable. Like aging, whether you like it or not. Okay, so I'm not really bothered about which way around it goes, because there's, actually let's get that bit of an Eiffel Tower up there, get that down, and then let's just go over it with a matte medium, make sure it's all soaked in quite nicely. And like I said, I'm not really bothered too much about wrinkles, it just adds to character and to texture. And there was enough coming through that we didn't have to add any more on the top. I'm hoping if any of it comes up at the edges, I'll deal with that later. Okay, so drop the brush into water, and my heat gun, which has now started to play up. I've had it now for a couple of years, but it's now started to go a bit funny. The motor keeps cutting out, but that sounds okay for now. Okay, so that is now nice and dry. It's also stuck itself to my glass mat, which is a bit of a bonus. I'm going to leave that there until I need to, and then I'll just trim off the excess tissue from around the outside. So on to step number 2, and number 2 is to add gesso or paint with a baby wipe. Now, paint wise, I looked at the 3 colours, the terracotta, the cream and the navy blue, and I went through my collection of paint to see what colours I had that were similar to that. So for the terracotta, I have a Do Crafts or Design Objectives Artiste acrylic paint in clay for the terracotta. For the cream, I have Dina Wakley Media acrylic buff. which is similar. And for the navy blue, I've got the lapis, again from Dean Wakely Media. So those are going to be my three colours that I've got. Let's just hold them upside down and you can see it's pretty much a good match. So it's surprising what you can find. Okay, so let's move that prompt sheet out of the way. Grab a baby wipe. Baby wipe. Knowing my luck, I'll probably end up with about 5 or 6 coming out. Just drop those on the floor. And I'm going to add a coat of the buff. I know I've got like a terracotta-y background on that tissue paper, but I just want to knock that into the background a bit. So let's just dab and kind of knock it back a little bit. I don't want to cover it completely. I just want to add just enough for it to kind of give it a bit of a coat. This is one of the new colours, I think, 2018 colours from Dean Wakely. That's better. Now I can put it on, and because we're using a baby wipe, I can put it darker or more intense in certain areas and lighter in others, and I can just keep on going over just to add that kind of nice mottling effect until I'm happy. Now bearing in mind it will dye back a little bit once it's dry. Yeah, me likey that. So let's give it another blast and I'll be right back. Okay, so that paint is now dry. As you can see, some of that pattern has started to show through, which is absolutely fantastic. So next step, so number 3 is to make marks over your page. Okay, so we're doing some mark making. The obligatory bubble wrap is coming in. So for this, I'm going to use the clay. So I'm going to add a little bit of that clay onto my craft mat here. And I'm going to use the brush that we used earlier, and I'm just going to paint some of that clay onto the bubble wrap, and then I'm going to start adding it around the page. I'm not going to add masses, I'm just going to add 3 little bits around my page. I think I'm going to do it that way. And then peel that off. Okay, so before we go any further, I also want to use this kind of silicone pot holder, and I'm going to just paint some of that clay onto there. Now notice the colour as well, it's almost the colour of the project that we said, which is kind of coincidental. So for that, I'm going to see if I can try and line the square pattern, if you like. I'm going to try and line it up so that it's straight, because one of the words for inspiration is also grid, by pure coincidence. Just pull that back in. Grid. So what better way to add a grid pattern than by mark making? And that is looking pretty good. Purely coincidental. So let's get this up top. Try and do it straight. as much as I can. One last little bit before we swap colour or dry and get it coloured. I'm going to add some of that to the outside here. Doesn't matter if it's a bit grungy. That's the nature of the beast. Okay, so quick baby wipe up. Get rid of that. Heat gun. Okay, so now that that clay or the terracotta colour is done, I'm going to add some more of that buff just on there. Grab that brush again, and with another piece of bubble wrap, just introduce some stronger colour into that first lot. As you can see, tones quite nicely. Because you've already got it in the background, it doesn't stand out fantastically, it just tones nicely into the background. Just pat it down and then whip it back off again quickly, like a elastoplast band-aid. Do it quick, painless. There we go. Okay, let's get that dried. I'll get this cleaned up and I'll be right back. Okay, so our bubble wrap is now nice and dry, so time to move on to the next step. So step number 4 is to add texture with paste or embossing powder. Okay, let's just have a look in my collection and see what we've got. Okay, so I've had a look through my embossing powder collection to see what colours I've got. Haven't got any navy blues or dark blues. I've only got gold. This is ultra thick as well, and I've got some here which has got a mixture of gold and silver in. So, but I think that was a mixture that I made it myself a while ago. So I'm going to put those to one side because they may come in useful a bit later on. So, stencil wise, so adding texture with paste or embossing powder. So we're going to have to go for the paste. So this is a new stencil. This is my prototype. This stencil is brand new for March and will be launching or start shipping from Friday the 9th, I think it is. But it's available now to purchase on my website anyway. This is my prototype one. So I have some heavy carvable modelling paste, which is quite thick, hence the heavy carvable. I'm going to pop a little bit down there, and I'm going to grab some of that lapis blue from Dina Wakley, and I'm going to add a little bit of that blue paint into the modelling paste. There we go. Try and mix it in as evenly as we can. Obviously it's going to go a little bit lighter, but that's okay. Now, the fleur-de-lis pattern, obviously we have a French tissue in the background, so some of that will be showing through. So yeah, the fleur-de-lis fits quite nicely. So I'm just going to scrape. I don't even want an even shape on this. And I'll put a little bit maybe over here. And because this is a prototype, it's curled a little bit. Yours won't curl, trust me. I'm going to add a little bit just up here at the top as well. as long as we've got a hint of the pattern in the background. Okay, so I'm going to drop that in water. I need to go and get this washed off and off my fingers. That will also start to dry, so I'll be right back once all of that is done and dusted. Okay, so that's pretty much dry and set now. So move on to step number 5. And step number 5 is to add a focal image or 2 or 3. Well, I'm going to use just the one this time, which is this old photograph of these 3 fantastic little reprobates. But I don't just want to stick that down. I want to add a little bit of a frame or a border around that image. But I want it to be in the same colours. But obviously, I haven't got the same coloured card, but I do have the same coloured paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab one of the Tim Holtz or the blending foams, like so. Grab some of the paint, just add it onto my craft mat like that, and then just grab a paint mat, just lay that over the top, put some of that paint, and then just quickly go around the edges. And this is a great tip if you want to coordinate your colours but don't have any coordinating cardstock. So you can literally just pick up some of the paint and colour your cardstock to match. It's one of my bugbears would always, that if you were creating a project, it was having cardstock and other stuff all coordinating, which is why companies like, you know, Stampin' Up and that kind of thing do a roaring trade, because all their colours with the cardstock and the inks and all that kind of thing all match. Whereas companies like, you know, Tim Holtz and the Distress range never really released any cardstock that went with, which I always thought was a great shame. But when you can do this kind of thing, does it really matter? No, it don't. Okay, so put that to one side, lift that up now, and then we can just quickly give that a blast to dry it off. And then I'm just going to add some adhesive just with a tape runner onto the back of my image. Now obviously I could have used glue, but this is just as easy, and just kind of even that up on the background. Haha, look at that. Perfect amundo. That's cool. Okay, so to stick that down, I can now just grab some tacky glue, he says, wondering what he did with it. Oh, actually, no. No. Let's use some adhesive tape. Some double-sided foam tape, just to give that a little bit of depth. See, I'm going to be swearing at this in a minute now, because it always sticks to my scissors. It can go back in the drawer. So that's going to give it a little bit more dimension. Okay. And then I'm just going to put that just actually, let's line it up with that grid. just like there. Just like that. And then stick that down. Perfect. Love it. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Now then, let me just have a look quick, just to make sure. Yeah, the hole's there. I've gone over the hole. Okay, so add a focal image. Done that. Add metallic shimmer, splatters or drips. Okay, so let's just remove that. I'm going to need to clear all this away before I can do anything else now. So, tell you what, let me do that and then I'll be right back before we get on to finishing off step number 6. The OCD in me's just kicked in, so I'll be right back. Okay, nice and clean and tidy, so that's better. Now, I thought about, for this metallic shimmer or splatters or drips, I thought about trying to add some of this metallic embossing powder on there, but I thought better of it because the background is probably still a little bit damp from the other bits and pieces, so I'm going to be getting glue, or I'm going to be getting the embossing powder sticking all over the place. Too uncontrolled for me, so I'm going to go with, what's that, uncontrolled. So I'm going to go with the other option, which is to grab some indigo blue gold paint and my fan brush and a smidgen of water, and we can start adding some lovely kind of a regal gold to this beautiful blue. So just mix in a little bit of that gold. And then we can start flick a bit more water. Typical. That's it. Not enough water in the bottle. So add some splatters. Now I'm shielding the main photograph, but I'm just adding some of that gold just like so. Just so it goes across the corner, across that corner, and a little bit just here. I might just a couple of larger splats. That should do it. Okay. Heat gun. Okay, so before we move on to the next step, let me just show you how that gold shimmer in the background and up the top, and then down here at the bottom. Look at that. Beautiful shimmer. Love it. And it just helps to tone down that blue as well. Just kind of gives it that little bit of just takes the eye away from that really deep kind of navy blue that we've got going on there. Just helps to bring and cement it all together. Okay, so step number 7 then is to add a quote, a phrase or a title. I have my little quote that I have here. I've got a tiny little glue stick. This is one of the Diane Reevely diary glue sticks. Comes in a pack of 3. Very inexpensive and are perfect for small little things like this. So let's stick our quote on. So we're going to try and line that up with the grid. Like so. And I've deliberately not gone around the edges. I'm just going to try and line it up with that grid. Get plenty of that glue on the back. Love that quote. Okay, so now we've got that on, I shall bring back the prompt list, and then we've got number 8, create a contrasting border or a frame. Okay, so we've used the terracotta, we've used the cream in the background or the buff. We've also got cream and kind of buff. This isn't white, it's kind of off-white. It's just the colour of the camera, probably making it look white, but actually it is slightly off-white. And we've got that navy blue, just adding that pop of colour. But we've got the dark from the photograph and we've got the dark from the writing, so we're at liberty to use black to go around our quote blocks and to create a border. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it in a kind of grid pattern, the same kind of way that we have going on with that terracotta or the clay colour. So it is kind of going to fit with what's going on with those lines too. So just carry on that pattern. And that kind of helps to just blend it all together somewhat. And then we can just add some of that black down here too. And then to finish off all together, I'm then going to go around the border and just add a little bit of a hand-drawn frame. And that will just help to tie it all together with that final prompt. And then once I've finished this, we'll just go through the prompt checklist just to make sure we've not missed anything. There we go. Now I also think I want to add some black just around the picture too, just to kind of tie it all together. And again, you could keep on going, adding bits in forever really. There we go. So I think you can just see where we've got that. Okay, so let's have a look at the checklist. So, start from the top. Cover the page with tissue and napkins, yes, did that. Gesso paint with baby wipe, yes, we did that. Make marks over the page, we did the make marks. Texture with texture paste, definitely. Focal image, metallic shimmer, splatters or drips, well, we certainly did that with the gold. Look, shimmer, shiny. And then add quote, phrase or title. So the difference between an adventure and an ordeal is attitude, and create a contrasting border or frame. So we've got the black border and we've brought that colour in all the way around, so it now kind of all ties it together. Not necessarily contrasting now, more complementary. Yeah, it's all in the interpretation. It's what they call artistic license. Okay, colours, terracotta, cream, navy blue, and words we've actually brought in. We've used the word attitude in the title, but we've also got that word grid, because we've introduced some grid patterns into the background too. I'd say that was mission accomplished, and that's March 18. So there you go. Job done. And like I said, it is open to interpretation. You don't have to use all three colours, you don't have to use the words. Just take one element if you want to and build something. As long as you're inspired to create something, you don't have to use it all. You can just pick and choose which elements that inspire you to create. That's the whole point of the mission inspiration. If you did enjoy watching that, please do give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. And also, if you haven't joined the Mission Inspiration Facebook group, please do so. That link is now on the screen. All you have to do is type that into your computer. I'll also put a clickable link in the description area below this video. You can just click it, pop along, answer the 3 questions just to make sure that you're a real person and you're not a robot or some sort of spammer. And then you'll be accepted into the group, and then you can join in. There's a full archive of all of the mission inspirations from the past few years too. So there's lots and lots to go at. There's enough to keep you busy for years. But we'll keep on adding month after month. Sounds like a plan. That's all from me for now. I will see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd also like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, without whose generosity and support these videos would not be possible. Thank you.